27K. This artist paid us 27K. Just so you know that it's not fake, let me refresh the page, blah, 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 blah. Just so you know, 27K. This completely broke my belief on what I thought was possible as a producer, going from someone who even thought this idea of charging someone like $1,000 for a song was outlandish to me, because I came from producing samples and making melodies and, you know, getting a collab sale here and there for like $30-50 kind of thing, and working with rappers who would never want to pay you for your time or your services or your profession. So me coming into this year, like literally 4 months into us doing this together, the idea of even charging 1,000 was like ridiculous to me. But here we are with my beliefs completely shattered. I want to go into the strategy, our underlying North Star, which helped us find our dream client. And obviously I'm not going to be telling you who these people are because I don't want you to nuke their DMs. I'm not even going to tell you if it was a boy or a girl. Today we are going into our North Star strategy, cold outreach, that helped us secure a 27.6K artist project literally in our first 4 months of producing full time, which is just mind blowing. Before we go into the strategy, I know I just baited you. I want to go into what we were doing which was not getting us results. I'm going to make a contrarian argument for producers starting out. Everyone says content is king, and yeah, for the most part I agree. But we were posting an absolute metric F ton, and after a year of doing that, only one person reached out to us and we ended up working with them, and they were a nightmare because we had to re-record their stuff multiple times. I want to keep driving this home. It's not like I don't understand the importance of content. I'm literally making content right now. But in terms of creating a sustainable and systematic way to get work as a producer, I want to use my example with my good friend Eddie on the beat, who is literally he's got over 100K on Instagram and over like 200 and something K on TikTok. And we did a podcast earlier this year, and I asked him how long he had been doing like music and posting and until he had reached this point. And he said, if I can find the clip, I'll find the clip. It took him 14 years to get to where he is. And, you know, like this is a top 0.1% producer right here in terms of the amount of reach that his page has. The bottom line, content is great, and as a long-term strategy, and the more time you adopt content and the more ideas you get and iterate, it's obviously a great strategy because it helps you build brand, helps you build trust with artists. But when you're starting out, we need a tangible and systematic way to generate conversations, which is the foundation and strategy we're about to explore. So our North Star strategy that got us 99% of our clients, including the one I showed you at the start of the video, and it's simply sending cold DMs on scale. Cold DMing is not sexy or fun. It's boring and tedious and monotonous, but I can say with 100% certainty that it works. And it completely broke my belief of what I thought was possible as a producer. Here is a screenshot again, just to show you, because it's still quite amazing. So as we're saying before, you need this tangible, systematic way to create conversations. And the point of a DM, a cold DM, is that it helps you start conversations to see if you can even help artists in the first place without needing a crazy brand of following to back you up. Because you can just open someone's message inbox, type out a nice message for them and hit send. And you don't need a certain amount of followers to be able to do that. There is nothing stopping you from doing that. But I will say there is a mindset you need to adopt to be successful, and it's super simple. I talk to so many producers who are scared to message people. And that is the number one mindset that will prevent you from getting work. Your goal is to let people know you exist, and the way you do that is send messages. So the more messages that you send and the more conversations that you start, the higher chance that you can find your potential whale client only a couple months into production. Not whale because they're big, whale because you know what I'm saying. And the amount of people who I talk to who also say that, they aren't my ICP when they find a lead is starting to piss me off, because I want to give you this example of why just messaging more people is more important than just thinking, oh, like, oh, but they're not my ICP. That is not your problem, bro, because you can't assume what someone's situation is, and that's the problem. You just assume that they're not your ICP. How would you know that? You haven't even messaged them. You don't even have a conversation going. Like, can you actually say with 100% certainty that, let's say you find an account and you're not too sure, that you'd be able to say that they're not your ideal customer without even having chatted with them to see if you could even help them in the first place? And I want to bring this point home with shouting out our friend Demi, who we worked with on a song, and we messaged her, and like, we're more R&B focused, but and do a bit of pop, and she looked more pop focused. So it's not like the most qualified in terms of ICP. But my point is, upon actually sending her a message and reaching out and having that conversation, we found out that she wants to transition more into R&B. And what happened? We closed her for an R&B song, even though her profile would suggest that she does different genres. So my point is, you need to message people, because you can't keep assuming someone is in your ICP unless you've actually messaged them to see if it actually makes sense to help them in the first place. So stop being up and message people. But obviously, with one problem solved comes another, which is leads. So when you want to reach out to people on scale, obviously you need leads to send out to them. And lucky for you, I have the exact system here that helps you do that on autopilot. So this lead generation system, which can help you secure your next dream client, what is it? Well, if I press the imaginary button here and run this automation, it will literally find people of your ideal customer profile. And let me give you some examples here. So here's one that I'm doing for the most specific thing I've ever heard. Like, I'm helping a producer find Latin artists who live in developed countries such as the United States, more specifically Florida, Miami, who make Latin music like reggaeton, Latin trap, or Latin R&B in Spanish and post in Spanish. And my system is able to find them. And I literally made this yesterday, and I let it run overnight. And dude, like, the results speak for themselves. Like, obviously not everybody here is going to be like a qualified artist necessarily, but imagine how long it would take you to go through almost 200 different unique pages. And now I've just created a system that spawns them into a spreadsheet and gives you an initial message that you can use to reach out to them in the language of your choice, in the style of your voice, so that you completely remove the dissonance in having to think about what to say to them. And you can just hit send and start the conversation, because that's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to start conversations. And what my system does is, it's like a matchmaking system for you, that you just open up your spreadsheet, all these leads have spawned in, you click the link, you look at their account, you open the message box, you hit send and move on and start the conversations. So, for example, recently, my good friend Berto, who's literally a 17-year-old producer who uses this system, closed his first beat sale for 2.5K USD, yes, using the system. It's literally his first ever project, and he was able to close this person for 2.5K using the system. He just wakes up, he opens up his spreadsheet, he looks at the leads that spawned in, and he messages them. And like, it just helps you focus on more higher leverage activities like sales, because what Berto was able to do with the extra time that he got was read sales books that I'd recommended him and use that sales knowledge in the sale to convert someone for a 2.5K sale. And not only that, we were able to hit a 10.8K month, just so we're seeing the results. And even recently, my buddy Harrison, who's using the system, is literally getting a rapper to fly him out from his city to their city, all expenses paid for, and pay for the music through the leads that are generated in the spreadsheet using my system. So if you want to land your dream whale artist who is potentially capable of paying you over $20,000 to make music, to do what you love, then DM me the word system, and let's stop you from having to do monotonous and bot-like behavior and work with artists who respect your time and your efforts.